Good morning, Old Testament righteousness. We just read chapter 58 of Isaiah, and now we're jumping back to a chapter that I don't really want to be offensive today to the Catholic Church, but I guess this next chapter we're going to is all about the Catholic Church. Chapter 17 of the book of Revelation. Before I start my hate speech and my reading of chapter 17, before we get to all the notes here, there's a whole page of notes on an offensive word that titles chapter 17 having to do with the Catholic Church. But anyway, before I start reading chapter 17, and then we take a break and then we'll get to the notes. I had an interesting thought yesterday that I don't know if it adds up, but I just thought it was funny and interesting. I was listening to some people talk, family members complain about my brother was offering to let my uncle borrow Shin Godzilla that just came out not that long ago. My brother is most of us are all Godzilla fans. I'm not like my brother, though. My brother's like a little obsessive about it, you know. Still a very good movie, though. I encourage everybody to go to see Shin Godzilla. It's more of it's not so much a monster movie. I mean, it is a monster movie, but it's also a encouragement and a celebration of the sanctity of life and how important life is and the preservation of life and life as holy, you know, something that God gifts you with, and you shouldn't take it for granted. You shouldn't throw your life away, because the movie starts out with, you know, how in World War II Japanese pilots were known as what were they known as? I forget. Some type of pilot. I forget the name of it, but it's like a pilot that throws his life away, you know, at the enemy. Towards the end of World War II when they were losing. So, but anyway, having to do with subtitles and Godzilla, my brother was offering my uncle. He purchased a copy of this Shin Godzilla, and it has subtitles, but no English dubbing. That's when, you know, the Japanese are like, I can't, I don't want to mock any Japanese people, but, you know, they got their words speaking, and then comes out, oh dang, we will stop them, right? You know, the English dubbing, they substitute in these English words for the Japanese, and yeah, it would come out in English, so you wouldn't have to deal with the subtitles reading. So my uncle was like, "Nah, that's stupid," you know. And another person said the same thing, that subtitles, I don't want to deal with. I don't want to read subtitles while I'm trying to watch a movie. That's ridiculous. But I was thinking about it. This is just what I've realized lately. Just playing games and stuff. If I played like a Japanese game, I've noticed I listen to the English and then I listen to the Japanese, and I've come to the conclusion I like actually listening to the Japanese, even though I don't understand it. I prefer the Japanese with the subtitles, English subtitles, over just the English acting, you know. I don't know what it is, but I've just come to the conclusion that the Japanese is just better. Even though, you know, that sounds ridiculous, but I kind of compare it to the King James Bible. Even though you may not understand the Shakespearean language a lot of times, something inside of me just says that this is better. That could be a simple way of explaining why you should go King James, but the people that like subtitles are usually lazy. Or not subtitles, I'm sorry. Or that don't like subtitles. That's what I mean. They just want the English and they don't want to hear any of the Japanese. But the original maker of the movie, like God, the maker of the book, well, no, then you'd say, well, then you should get it in Greek, or Hebrew Bible. Yeah, that's probably what they'd say. But I don't know. That was just my thought. I prefer listening to the Japanese and reading subtitles. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because when I was a kid, we played video games that always required you to read, and that helped you with your reading ability to some extent. Versus now, kids can just listen to this horrible English acting and they don't have to do any reading. And then they wonder when they come in to go to work and stuff, they're just totally brain dead because they haven't been challenged in any capacity. So, anyway, I prefer the King James and the Japanese. All right, we're in chapter 17 of Revelation. Let's read it. The title of the section is an offensive word that I might not be able to say on YouTube, and I probably shouldn't say it, but you might say it anyway. But anyway, chapter 17 of the book of Revelation, verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Very strange. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Wow. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman, and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not, and yet is. On the surface, well, I got to concentrate on reading, I'm sorry. 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there were 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. That's key. 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. 1 hour with the beast. 13. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. One mind. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, and they that are with him are called, and chosen, and faithful. Amen. 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. Wow. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Wow. I just want to mention especially verse 8, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. I don't know if you notice, we're going to take a break here in a minute, but I just wanted to say one thing. Do you notice all the moral rot and decay, corruption all around you? And yet we're approaching like the Super Bowl and stuff, and there's a satanic ritual right in front of your face as you watch it, you know. I haven't watched a football game in like 3 years or something. I mean, maybe my brother forced me to watch a Lions game partially the other day. But I just mock all the announcers and stuff and point out how stupid it all is. Um, you know, it's just there's an evil right in front of you that isn't there with the physical eye, but yet it is there. When they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. It's like something that I think it's a state of evil all around you that you can't really put your finger on, but you know it's there, you know? And if you're one of these guys at the start of verse 8, you won't even know, you know. Like so many people are all excited about the Super Bowl, and you know it's going to be it's going to be such blah blah blah. Oh, look at these commercials and stuff. Oh, this is great. Ha ha ha. Yeah, we're going to have Tostitos and Pepsi and celebrate and blah blah blah, and booze and eat, drink, and be merry. You know, for tomorrow we die. Um, I don't know. I'm pleased that my candidate won in this presidential election, but I'm not stupid enough to think that like we're going to be fine, or you know everything's fine and everything. There's so much evil in this world that it's growing and growing, and it's right in front of everybody, but there's no acknowledgement of it. It's like, yeah, it's completely evil, but what do you want me to do about it? Well, what if we all said with one voice, we're not going to participate in this evil, you know? Why don't we all do that together? Let's say, let's all make a stand and say, no, we're not doing that. We're not participating in this. Why is the Super Bowl the most viewed television event, like always, every year, and they make so much money off of it? What if everybody just didn't watch it, you know? Didn't participate in it? Wouldn't that be something? And then all the people that wasted all their money spending advertisements for this, you know, then they'd be screwed. And that would improve things. Then maybe these Satanists would think like, man, maybe people don't like Satanism anymore. Man, how are we gonna manipulate this further? And I guess that goes along with what this is all about here, is an infiltration. That's what the Catholic Church began with. It's a pagan infiltration. See, if everybody did shut their TVs off on that Sunday, then the Satanists would just have to change gears, and they'd have to infiltrate something else that we like Godzilla or something. They tried that already in the American Godzillas. It's garbage, you know. Then you watch the Japanese Godzillas, and you're like, oh, this is what the maker intended, you know. This is actually quality filmmaking and storytelling and writing and characters and acting, not a bunch of morons running around, you know, in the American version. Anyway, a fake, a fraud, an infiltration. Then they would change gears and they'd just ruin something else in our world. They'd go to the next thing that they can ruin. How did the Catholic Church get infiltrated? Well, the early church in Acts, the Romans couldn't do anything against it. It was too powerful. It was becoming too strong historically. What did these evil emperors do? They, instead of continuing to destroy it, everything they did to attempt to destroy it just backfired on them. It just made it stronger. You know, you couldn't stop it. So what do? You change gears, you change your strategy. You get Al Pacino in the business room, and he goes and tells everybody, well, if you can't beat them, you join them. I can't do, my brother does an okay Al Pacino. And that's what they did. They combined all of these religions, pagan ideas, into Catholic just means universal. The first church, you could say, was Catholic. But then you tacked on Rome to it, Roman Catholic. Rome couldn't defeat the early church. What did they do? They joined it. They infiltrated it, corrupted it, leavened it. And that's what this is all about here. That's what really this whole story is about, is what's the main antagonist? Is this leaven corrupting everything in the world, you know. That's why Jesus tells you to stay away from the world, because the world continues to become more and more corrupt, and people become more and more stupid every day. Watching the Super Bowl and these commercials and stuff, and we're getting weaker physically and mentally, spiritually, weakened. Our shields are breaking down, and it's becoming easier and easier for Satan to take control of people, until you have literally a bunch of demon-possessed people in your city and walking in your midst. They hate you, you know? So, anyway, I need to stop rambling. We have a lot of notes to talk about, and I underlined most of this chapter. So there's a lot to talk about here in 17. So I'm going to take a break, get some coffee. I'll be right back. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.